Okay, so if you are a newbie or maybe you are a seasoned veteran who's been modifying cars for the longest time. Now, one of the questions that's always on the back of your mind, and maybe one of your friends or your parents have said it to you, hey, spending all that money on that car, you're not going to recoup that. You're not increasing the value. And maybe you've sold some cars and you saw that you never got any of those modifications back. Well, what if we could reverse that? What modifications do increase the value of a car? So, I'm going to talk about it. Hey guys, and welcome back to another Talking Mods. Now, we talk about all types of car modifications. Now, a lot of times you guys might be thinking, hey, in car modifications, I'm probably going to be losing money. I'm throwing money into a pit here.
Fun coupon! See that?
That's usually not exactly the case, and I'm going to talk about it in this segment. So, I remember when I first started modifying a car, my dad, family would basically say, hey, and friends would be like, hey, the more you keep spending into this, the more you're probably going to lose. I'm like, well, I enjoy it for myself. And for most of us as enthusiasts, we do this for ourselves. We enjoy it, and we enjoy what it brings for us, right? A lot of different things that it brings for us. So I'm going to talk about some of the subjects where I've seen it actually increasing value. I have basically wanted to make sure that I pay attention to those who've done really well with it. So what are those things that you can do, and why should you care? Especially right now, as we're filming this, the used car market is out of control. It is higher than ever. And most of the time you'll see that people just want to buy the car as it's originally sold. But there are cases where you can modify it and actually increase the value, or at least hold the value of the parts that you purchased. So let's jump into the number one way that I have seen an increase in value, and this is a huge leap here forward. So let's say it's a Mercedes and you get all the Brabus components, get the Brabus parts and all those components, make it period correct. That would be an example of a vehicle that would increase in value. If it's a Honda, it could be a Spoon Honda.
I just went in there, and Hector is gonna be running 3 Honda Civics with Spoon engines.
And if you get all the aero kits, the wheels, everything that Spoon had for that period correct Honda, you will increase the value. We've seen it happen with RWB Porsches. And we've seen the explosion on the older Porsches thanks to people putting on RWB kits. We've seen this happen on, complete kits where there's a builder called Singer, for example. Singer builds a full vehicle and they're able to sell the car for a lot more than the original value. We're talking about increases here of value that could be $100,000 to $200,000, even $300,000, depending on the kit and depending on the vehicle. So if you know the right ones that are out there, and the ones I just mentioned, that happens from time to time, even if it's just a dine-in vehicle, right? Dine-in sells parts, and if you get a full period correct dine-in vehicle that has all the certifications from dine-in, then there is a market for certain people who are looking for a complete built dine-in vehicle, for example, or an Alpina vehicle, or whatever it might be. So I'm giving you guys examples here. So when you look at building a car, you should consider that, hey, if I'm going to do this complete body kit, and if you're going to add a couple other items, consider that if you're going to do it, add all the body kit components, right? We're talking about, you might not love their front spoiler, but you love their hood, you love their rear spoiler, you love the diffuser. Taking into consideration here, take that front spoiler, even though you don't like it, consider that it will actually might add value to your vehicle if you have it as a complete car. Now, I'm not telling you what to do. This is for you guys, because this is what you enjoy. Now, where do I come from all this? I'm telling you guys from, 17 years of doing mod bargains. This is my shameless plug. But all these things here that we're going to be talking about, if you call us up here at Mod Bargains and you're making purchases for your vehicle, if you ask us this question and before you make the purchase, on will this hold value if I go to resell? If I take the component off, will it hold value? Will this brand versus this brand, which one will hold more value? The guys here, the modification experts, they've been doing this for a long time. They have it on their own vehicles. They also sometimes flip cars. I mean, an example would be, which will be going to the next one, and that's kind of how I connect the two, is, I'll give you an example. Eddie here, for example, he's one of our modification experts. He has a GX 470. Well, he had a GX 470. Now he picked up his vehicle for $8,000. And hopefully he doesn't mind me sharing this information. But the second area is in the off-road segment. If you build a proper, now this doesn't really happen in the sports car segment very much, but off-road vehicles will get a premium if they are built correctly. Now Eddie put in high quality components, brands that are respected, brands like Ibach, Fox, King. Those are respected brands. If you don't know which they are, again, I'm going to tell you guys, call us up at Mod Bargains, and we appreciate your business. That's how we make this channel stay in business. But if you do pick the right brands and ask us or ask the right people, then you can increase the value. So he ended up selling the Lexus, from which he purchased for $8,000, for $18,000 after after a year and a half of driving it, or 2 years of driving it with the components on, and then he resold it, made a profit, and then flipped on to his next car. And he does this on a regular basis. Most of the guys here have been doing the modifications for so long, we will tell you, hey, this component versus this component, which will add value. So that's the second. If you're doing the off-road, it's a segment that you can actually increase value if you're building it to the right specifications with the right components. And that's, I think, very critical. So the third way in which you can increase value is doing something that's called the reliability mods, right? Now, most vehicles have gremlins, as we might call it. They have like something that is generally wrong with them. After the life cycle of that vehicle, the same general problems keep on coming up. For example, if you have an E46 M3, everybody knows, hey, the subframe issue. Now, if you fix that subframe issue and put the right components, when you go to resell it, you're not losing anything. You're going to gain, from it. The rod bearings on the E90, the Porsche, the second gear clutch pop out. There are so many different things and different vehicles that they have different problems. And if you don't know what those problems are, again, you could talk to one of the modification experts or jump on some car forums. Usually they're heavily discussed. You'll see the ones that are prevalent because you'll see the same problem repeated over and over and over, and manufacturers just don't, sometimes they don't address it. Unless it becomes a national-wide issue, then they might address it and do a recall. But the ones that are not, and when you have the proper, aftermarket scene, when the aftermarket community comes and solves it and, fixes it and so forth, spending money on these components will not have you lose money. You will only increase, because when someone is going to purchase that vehicle, they're going to be looking for it. Has this been done? Okay, well, there's a cost to it, and there's almost an appreciation for somebody who does care for it, and I think you see that value hold. You guys might have a different opinion, but that's one of my opinions on it. So reliability mods is the third way in which you can increase value or at least hold value. So the fourth modification that you can do is a modification that I kind of call care modifications. And by care modifications, I'm describing something that helps maintain the vehicle or kind of beautifies it and keeps that beauty, right? Because when you sell a vehicle, especially right now, if you're looking at selling a vehicle in the used car market, you're going to look at condition. Whatever we purchase, I don't care if you're buying a watch or an antique or whatever it is, we're going to look at the condition, right? If we get something that looks ugly and dull and so forth, we're not going to pay that money for it. So one of the ways that a care mod can be things just like floor mats, right? A lot of people will purchase aftermarket floor mats, and that's a huge industry in itself, because they want to protect the carpets and the original floor mats that came with the vehicle. Especially if it's a special limited vehicle, you might want to take even extra care, right? Now, another thing that some people do, especially for the paint, is there's two ways that they go about it. One is some people wrap their cars. You can actually protect the paint that way. The other is doing what's called ceramic coating. This one kind of gets iffy because it depends on the cost. But what's really nice about it is the ceramic coat brands that do report back to the Carfax. So if you get a ceramic coat brand that reports back to the Carfax, when someone is researching your vehicle, you can actually see that in there, and it really does help increase the value. So, and the insurance company and so forth. So again, these are care modification, things that are to protect the vehicle. So when you do take it off to sell, or you even leave it on there, show, hey, here's the original and here's the aftermarket one, make your decision, but you now are a owner that has taken care of it. So care modifications are a way in which at least holding value of a vehicle, sometimes increasing, but I'd say this one kind of falls into more holding the value. And I think it really helps you in reselling a vehicle. So, and the fifth way in which basically you can hold value or increase value is selecting the type of brands in which you purchase for your vehicle. Brands do matter. People care about brands. People care if it's, if you have a Chanel bag or Hermes bag, right, for women, or it's a, Michael Kors bag. I'm just saying, some women really do care because there is a value to it. Look it up on eBay, you will see it. If it's a Rolex or versus a Timex, with two different brands, right? Brands do matter, people care about it. Now, picking the right brands, whether you're picking in wheels, suspension, all these components, it comes with experience. I'll talk about more about that probably in another video if you guys are interested, so I'm looking forward to your comments. But if you look at another video I did with wheels, I did 5 wheel brands that you really wouldn't lose money and actually might even make some money on some of these brands. So selecting the right brands, right, is critical. And I think that kind of comes down to the person that you're working with and the shop that you work with, trusting them. Again, we're here to help you guys. What did you guys think about this? I know this can be kind of controversial. I do want to bring someone on here that I have seen make huge sums of money in the car modification scene. Maybe I will get him as a guest speaker to talk about it. Hopefully soon. I've been trying to get him in here. So I'm looking forward to your comments. Again, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. It really helps us grow this channel. And hit that notification button to see the next videos. So I will see you guys on the next Talking Mods.